Hi ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Makalasi. Thank you for having my station. So today I'm going to do a video about Enoch, who is the incarnation of Metatron. Now if you haven't seen my videos, this is kind of a continuation of why Atlantis has fallen, or my one about the 24 elders, Atlantis, and an Anunnaki connection. So a quick overview: you have Earth, who live on this planet, which is an evolutionary planet, that you had the Netrus and 24 alien groups contribute their DNA basically in hopes of watching the evolution of the planets and the beings on this planet evolve. And by understanding and watching it evolve, they can help the brothers and sisters out in the cosmos because they were reaching a plateau in their evolution. So in my videos I talked about how you had the rise of Atlantis and the Council of Immortals, and how basically one of the Council of Immortals turned rogue, and the Council of Immortals is connected to the 24 elders, or who is connected to the 24 people who contributed their DNA. So now we're at a time where Atlantis came to a halt, and then you had everything, you had the renegade Council of Immortals that was taking over the surface world. So even if you haven't seen my previous video, this is a good way to begin. So basically, at this point, I'm talking about the rise of a new type of society built, the new Atlantis, which was going to be the new Egypt, or Kemet. So what happened was, these Council of Immortals who were living in the surface decided to resurface, and by resurfacing, they wanted to bring back Atlantis, which already fell and destructed. And one of the 24 elders by the name of Metatron decided to come to the surface. And when he came to the surface, he decided to take the incarnation of Enoch. Now Enoch is very interesting because he's the great-grandfather of Noah. Now if you know Noah, he's Noah from Noah's Ark. And why that is important is because being connected to Noah, he created a new trend of immortals, and these immortals were immortals that were connected to the mortals, because prior to Enoch coming to the surface and creating Kemet, you had immortals who were just immortals. Therefore, if something was to happen to them, they would always be immortal. Where the incarnation from Adam, which was connected to Adam, Noah being connected to Adam, introduced immortals being connected to mortals. And what that basically means is, if they don't keep themselves balanced, or if they don't keep their energy balanced, they can go ahead and become mortal. So because of that, Enoch represented a new type of immortals that were connected to the mortals by the Adam blood connected to Noah. Now remember, this is interesting because now in today's society you have now a whole bunch of immortals that are connected to mortal blood, which they choose not to be exposed to mortals because it can potentially make them become mortal. So now back to the story. So you had Enoch, who is the great-grandfather of Noah, who is connected to Adam, and Enoch being the new type of immortals who is connected to mortals, came to the surface. And when he came to the surface, he decided that he wanted to bring back the Council of Immortals and bring structure and civilizations to mankind on the surface world. And by doing that, he started to create Kemet, or Egypt. And this is really interesting because, at the time things were kind of falling apart. And not only did he do that, he also introduced many concepts like astrology, writing, magic, pyramids, and structure. So therefore he became very, very known and very powerful for doing such things. Now in the mortal society, he's the most powerful figure in the Bible. However, in the rewritten Bible, they took the book of Enoch out, along with 66 other books as well. But because Enoch came in, he was able to start civilization and invented a lot of really interesting things that made Egypt, or Kemet, be a really great society. In conjunction, he also helped Tehuti, who's also Melchizedek in the Bible, and he taught him a lot of the stuff of the arts that he became to know. Now, Tehuti also created the Order of Melchizedek, which also helped link to the Christ, Jesus, and other very great, powerful spiritual leaders in the past. But a lot of people get Enoch or Metatron confused with Tehuti because they kind of seem like they have a similar principles. But what happened was Metatron was actually, or Enoch was the teacher to Tehuti or Melchizedek. Now in the Bible, not the one with the book of Enoch that was taken out, Enoch is mentioned 3 times. But how you can know there's a difference is because in the Bible it says that Enoch actually, God took him. And basically when they said God took him, it basically meant that he ascended. Where Tahuti, in contrast, decided to stay here and help with the order of Melchizedek and this dimension. So you can say Enoch, Metatron actually ascended. Now, what you want to do is understand, I do highly recommend people to read the book of Enoch, because that's obviously his book. They took his book out, but if you really want to read a more complete version, I highly recommend people to read the Ethiopian Bible, because it still has a book of Enoch in there with the other types of versions in there. Another thing interesting about Metatron, they always call him the bigger Michael, because he is the teacher to Tahuti or Melchizedek, and because he was able to ascend, he was able, if you understand the tree of life, Kabbalah tree of life, he was able to go from Malakut, which is the bottom of the tree, all the way up to Kepher. So now he resides on Kepher. And the reason why Kepher is very important, because he is the guardian or the gateway between the dark terrestrials and between the gods of this dimension. So he's kind of like the gateway between the two, with his female part, who's Shakti, who is also the same one as well. Also, with Enoch, he's very important too, because he also was able to master the science of the Merkaba. So with the science of Merkaba, he was able to go between all ciphers of the Kemetic tree of life and into different dimensions. So basically, that's a really quick introduction to Enoch. He is one of the 24 elders that resurfaced and brought the Council of Immortals back to the surface world. He's technically Metatron, but when he incarnated as Enoch, who is the great-grandfather to Noah of the Bible, who is also had descendants of Adam, which made Enoch very important, because he was a new type of immortal that was connected to the mortals, and therefore he had to always keep himself balanced, and therefore the mortals of today are more of the new type of Enoch immortals. He created civilization Sekhemet, which became a great empire. He also did such beautiful inventions like astrology, pyramids, and magic. He was a teacher of Tahuti, who's also the Melchizedek, who created the order of Melchizedek, which I always like to connect it to Council of Immortals. People consider him the bigger Michael. He is mentioned in the Bible 3 times. However, you could tell there's a difference, because they said that God took him, which basically means he ascended into Kepher, which is the highest cipher of the Kabbalah tree of life. He had his own book, which is the Book of Enoch, which people who rewrote the Bible took it out. However, I highly recommend people read the Book of Enoch. The Ethiopian Bible actually keeps it all in there, so that's a little bit more complete. Of course, Enoch is mentioned 3 times, even without the Book of Enoch. He now resides on the Kepher cipher, or part of the Kabbalah tree of life. However, he's very powerful that he can go in between, and he is the gateway or the guardian between the dark terrestrials and the gods of this universe. Therefore, he's very, very powerful. So that's my quick video. I hope you like it, and I'll see you in my next.